there was always more to give and more to bless people with, whether that's a friend or a stranger in need or even an enemy. This was driven home to me when I was young, and this little island where we're living, a man decided to publicly take on my dad, publicly assaulting his character. This went on for a year. It was very painful. In his church, in the newspaper, on the radio, calling him out. His version of truth was so narrow it didn't include us, and he wanted to tackle my dad in public debates. My dad tried to work it out with him, and he didn't want to have anything to do with that. So we just sort of endured it. And then in 1977, the largest hurricane, the strongest hurricane ever to hit the Caribbean, went through, Hurricane David. And in 100 years, it just tore the place up. Our home barely survived. It raged on through the night. The next morning, my dad grabbed me, grabbed his tools. We got into the truck to go out to help people in need. And the first place that he went was the home of his antagonizer. And there for the rest of the day, we spent picking up debris, gathering his belongings, trying to restore. His house was devastated. Second day, we went back a second time, and we spent the next day helping him put his life back together. On the third day, this man shows up at our house and has tears in his eyes. And he looked at my dad and he says, how could you do this? Why, after all that I've said and done? And I'll never forget how my dad just reached with the look in his eyes, and he put his hand on his shoulder, and he says, well, my brother, we're a long way from home. You're my brother in Christ, and we have to take care of each other. And then he hugged me. And in that hug, the atmosphere changed, and the climate changed. It rippled out to change his family. And then in that small little island, that story began to spread, and that really opened up the door to my dad for that entire little country. Yeah, go ahead. I give God praise for that. One act of compassion followed by a second act of compassion creates an atmosphere. And in that atmosphere, people's lives are changed.